From the Fuji Television Grand Prix of Japan, congratulations to our first three finishers. In third place for West McLaren Mercedes, David Coulthard. Second, also for West McLaren Mercedes, Kimi Räikkönen. And winning for Scuderia Ferrari Marlboro, Rubens Barrichello. Rubens, coming in here, you had to win this race. You won it from the pole. But it was difficult in those early laps.
It was always very difficult because we had a situation that I think it helps our competition. I mean, it was not damp, but it was some sort of a small water in some sort of a corners. I mean, going to spoon that right-hander, especially on the first laps where Montoya overtook me, my car was very twisty. So it was hard to keep control, and I almost lost it on the first lap. So it was difficult, and I was praying, even though everyone knows that I love the wet, I was praying not to rain because it was our main opponent. So basically, I fought all the way through, hoping that it wasn't going to rain. Plus the fact that my visor was really fogged, and all the pit stops, they had to put rubber to keep it open because it was very difficult. So I had to keep my concentration, and I was pushing right through the end because if we had a situation where it was going to be wet, for 3 laps, I knew they could catch me 3 seconds a lap. So I need to push all the way through.
Rubens, a huge day for Ferrari. Michael's clinched his 6 Drivers' World Championship. And this is the 4th consecutive Constructors' Championship of which you've been a part at Ferrari.
And I'm so proud because even though all these years Michael has been the one that I've been helping for the constructors, I've been there as well. So I mean, it's to be the 4th year consecutive on Ferrari and win that championship and to clinch this victory, because I think Suzuka is definitely a driver's circuit. So it's for me to be winning this race makes me a proud man.
Thank you, Rubens. Kimi, almost there. How big an impact did that shunt yesterday have, do you think, on your weekend?
Of course, it didn't help us, but it's past now, and thanks to David to let me use his car and try to get back on a good shape. But I think so we were a bit unlucky with qualifying yesterday. The last 5 guys or whatever it was got a little bit rainy, and it didn't help us, but I don't know, we got 2nd place again. It's not very nice to finish 2nd almost every time, but we were just not quick enough this year to win the title, and at least we didn't lose for bad driver.
Thank you, Kimi. David, an interesting weekend for you too. As Kimi said, you had to swap cars halfway through the weekend, and then obviously late in the race there, sitting behind Kimi. But how was the car for you?
Well, the T-car, I never obviously got a full opportunity in qualifying to know exactly where it was relative to the race car because of the conditions. But in the race, I have to say balance, except on the second set of tyres, was pretty good. Second set, for some reason, had a lot of understeer, and that was quite difficult for the first 8 or 9 laps. Otherwise, I was able to run in clean air and push reasonably hard and try and make a 3-stop strategy as best I could.
Dat zo zijnde. Dan hebben we dus deze persconferentie gehad. Maar wie is er nou eigenlijk de wereldkampioen geworden? En dat voor de 6e keer in zijn carrière. Dat is natuurlijk de Duitser Michael Schumacher. En hij zit ook voor ons klaar.
From the Fuji Television Grand Prix of Japan, congratulations to the 2003 world champion, Michael Schumacher. Michael, you've broken many records in your career, but you've just broken perhaps the big one. 1957, Juan Manuel Fangio won his 5th World Championship, and now you have won your 6th. Can you just describe your emotions?
Probably not appropriate, honestly, because has been a tough year. There's been a tough late stage of the season, and it has been a very tough race, honestly, probably one of my toughest. But I think what is much more to mention is the team, and I only can repeat ever so often, because again today, I mean, they have done an incredible job giving both of us a car where we have been at all time competitive with. Rubens have done a fantastic drive, won the Grand Prix, so we won the constructor title 5 in a row, which I think is first time ever happened in big style. Myself, I was a little bit messy today after having a little incident, and that's why I said it was one of my toughest races, honestly, because to come back then and go through the traffic and fight your way through with all the happenings, with what happened with D'Amata and Ralph hitting me in the back and so on. I mean, it was a very, very strange race, and therefore the feelings yet haven't sunk in. I mean, I can well feel for the team, but I can't feel for myself at the moment. I'm empty and I'm exhausted. I'm just proud of what we all have achieved.
What were you feeling during the race? Were they keeping you informed about where Kimi was lying? And equally, how hard were you going in traffic with Sato, for example, and again with your brother?
Obviously, I had to go flat out, especially after I lost my nose in lap 7 or 8, that was. And from that moment, it was early stage in the race. I knew Montoya was out at that stage, and I knew that the two McLarens were both behind Rubens, and you wouldn't know what would have happened with weather condition, with strategy and so on, what could have been the outcome in the end. So I really had to make sure by myself on top to be at least in 8th position. Thanks, I could rely on Rubens in the late stage of the race, but still I had to fight because you never know whether a car would finish. We had Formula 1 and we have always seen things happen in the past, so you have to think about the worst to be safe, and that's what I was trying. And the fight with Cristiano and with Ralph and myself in between was quite a tough one, and I really had to make sure I stay and get that 8th position to have the point in case.
And in the closing laps of the race, when you were sitting behind D'Amata, wiping your visor, the laps were unwinding, was it difficult to keep your concentration then?
It was difficult for the simple reason that when I had the incident with D'Amata in the late stage and Ralph, I locked up so heavy to avoid hitting D'Amata that I had a huge flat spot. And when you may know what it means to run over those very old stones, these rivel stones, that's the way I felt in the car. I mean, I almost lose vision down the straight because the vibrations are so huge and you get concerned. So you sort of have as well the knowledge that Ralph hit you in the back, and you don't know how heavy that is, whether you can have maybe a puncture and losing your 8th position. So there's a lot of thoughts that are going through, and you just try to carry your car as safe and as easy and as light into the checkered flag.
Well, you did finish in the points in 8th place. You secured your 6th World Championship, your 9th with Ferrari, including Constructors' Championship. Some final thoughts on the team and on those achievements?
First of all, I think it is very strange for me because most of my championships I have won with a victory. And here now today I'm sitting here and winning a championship with 8th position, which is last of the points, still winning the championship, which is a mixed emotion. Though what the team has achieved, I mean, is just fantastic. I mean, if you see what has happened in Germany, Hockenheim, in Budapest, how many people wrote us off, how many people wrote things about us, outspoken things. And here we are, we're back, and we never give up. We're always there, we always fight, and I think that's one of the big strengths of the Ferrari team, and everybody in Ferrari is that way. And it's just a huge, big family, which we all be proud of being a part of it.